Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all well. Am I audible, guys? Yes, thanks, Dan, for confirming. Let me quickly share my screen. Mm, I hope the screen is visible. Oh, sorry, I didn't start the video. How are you all today? Should we wait for a couple of more minutes? Okay, let's do the revision of yesterday's class. Good, nice. I hope you are having a nice weekend, unlike me. Okay, so let's start. Basically, in the last class, we did the introduction of the business and technology, and I gave you some tips about the ACCA Hub, CBA Practice Platform, and the mitigating circumstances, and some more stuffs, if I remember correctly. Okay, one student is waiting. Okay. So then after that, I introduce you to this syllabus, like what is the syllabus of business and technology, why ACCA wants you to learn this subject, basically learning about the business organization, the external environment. And after that, basically, what is the business hierarchy, how basically the structure will be happening, what would be the leadership, what would be the corporate governance and ethics. So that we will be unwinding in the upcoming classes. And in this chapter, what we did, we basically started this chapter with the business organization. What are the business organization? We introduced the organization, that organization that has couple of individuals there that are working for collective goals, and that has a boundary, basically separating it from the outside world. So like VG Learning is a organization, like any company, any group of people coming together for any particular cause, and they separate themselves from the outside world. That is the organization. Any world outside the organization will be external environment. And today we will, let's say if we complete this chapter today, so let's see whether in chapter number 2 we will be able to introduce the external environment, because next chapter and chapter number 3 and 4, there will be a lot of interesting, we'll learn a lot of things about how the organizations and how the environment around the organization operates. So in the organization, what was the organization and why organization existed? Organization basically we also introduced a business organization. And if you remember, I gave you a very simple definition about the business, that buying at less and basically selling at more. And whatever margin is, basically that creates the profit for us. Okay. So these are the features of the organization that I gave you example of, needle, where some individual working on repetitive basis, basically working and specializing, creating standard and collective efforts, basically creating an output, and that reduces the time, but and saves the cost. Whereas the same individual doing the same thing would, not create the standard. Sorry. And one thing that I touched upon was formal documentation and how the input, processing, and output happens. Then we went on discussing the different types of organization based on the ownership, control, activity, profit and non-profit, legal form. So far, I think we covered the ownership part. We have covered the between the private sector and public sector, defining the public sector altogether, like what is the public sector here. And then we went on discussing the basically owner versus manager, like how creating a limited liability and separate legal entity creates difference between owner and managers. And I gave you example of Mukesh Ambani and Mr. Elon Musk and other people, like, and how these businesses are run by some managers in case this is a separate legal entity. For activity based, let's try and cover the rest of the topic today, and then we'll do some questions so that you can also get introduced to the question that you will be that will be coming in the exam, and that will be helpful for your understanding. Okay, so any doubt so far of anyone, or should we start the class? So far, good? All good? Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's start. So for ownership, private sector, public sector, owners basically mainly if there is a separate legal entity, and we will learn not only companies but partnership can also have separate legal entity. Okay, we'll discuss partnership like later on. And there's a manufacturing and services. Right now I'm providing you service, so that is basically I'm not selling you anything, I'm providing you service. Manufacturing is basically producing something, basically input output and processing and then selling it, that is manufacturing. Profit non-profit, we also touched upon it, like how there is an NGO and how there is an NPO. NPO stands for not for profit organization, and these organizations primary goal is not to earn profit. That doesn't mean that they cannot earn profit, it's just that their primary goal is not to earn profit. They may be basically working on a social cause or maybe on a cause that is basically local. Okay, not necessarily social cause, but if it is a social cause and not funded by government, then that would be a NGO. Again, NGOs are by default not for profit, but they can become profitable if they are selling something. Main source of income for the NGOs are donations and subscriptions. Okay. Legal form, limited company we discuss. Partnership I will be touching upon very soon, as I told you. And then size, that small businesses normally have sole proprietorship, and medium to large businesses, because the risk expands on unlimited risk you don't want to carry on. I give you examples how cases happens to the company. So you definitely want to have a limited liability that will help you to limit your liability to the assets of the company only. Okay. And what else? Okay, now here we are starting this conversation. Okay, I think I have covered, okay, I have not covered the notes, but we have covered the limited liability per se. But from notes, let's cover this also. So limited liability company, identify as X limited. So whenever we will be looking, so right now we are learning the UK company. Okay, so normally you can see that their company registered in US, company registered in UK, and company registered in India. Their nomenclature changes. Like in UK, if a company gets registered, so it's compulsory that they have a limited word at the end. Okay, and if a company registered in India, they also have, let's say, Mr. A Limited. Okay, they also have compulsory to have a limited word. But there is a difference between UK limited, company registered in India as a limited, and company registered in India as a limited. Let me just tell you, because this will help us for getting an understanding about registration processes. You may be basically learning the law, or you might already be learning law in your commerce background, so you may be getting an exemption in the ACCA. So just for your understanding, if a company registers in basically as a company, they will have to denote themselves as a limited company if their liability is limited. Okay, if their liability is limited. And we know what limited means, that you cannot basically recover the money in case company goes into liquidation beyond company beyond companies assets available. Okay, so that is the word limited. So if you are a UK based company, so you will be categorizing into two types of company. One is let's say xyz PLC, and one XYZ limited. Now both are companies in UK, but one is a public company and one is a private company. So if you are a public company in UK, you have to write at the end of the name as PLC. But if you are a private limited company in the UK, you have to write limited. Okay. PLC stands for public limited company. Public limited company. Here, XYZ limited basically means limited liability. Okay. Both of these entity enjoys the limited liability. None of them is basically, having any differences in terms of liability. If there will be a liability, so if it is written as PLC or limited, then there will not be any creditor or lender or any bank will not be able to recover amount beyond the company's basically assets, and they will have a separate legal entity. Their owner will have a separate entity, like they are separate entity, owner have a separate entity. So in both cases, nothing changes. But this is called a public company and this is called a private company. Can anyone tell me what is a public company and a private company? Anyone who has either read the law, especially those who have read the law before, like in their commerce education, or they're currently learning the law. And even if if you want to appear for the ACCA law exam, you need to clear the business technology first. You cannot appear for a law exam directly in the ACCA. You have to clear the BT exam first, in case anybody is not aware. So what is public company and private company? Anyone? Any idea? Like you might have heard in the news or you might have seen somewhere. Guys, are we here? Okay. Janmay J says that public company are listed in stock. Shreya says public company is owned by government. Ha, this is the comment I was looking for. Now, Shreya, you have, basically the most common question, public sector versus public company. Very good. This was the comment. Don't worry, this is actually will help us to, get clarity. Like owned by the government. Again, Anirudh also says this is owned by the government. And question is, Dhruv, basically, what is a public company and private company? And suddenly students started saying that owned by the government, so that will be public company, not owned by the government, that is the private company. That is not the case. Let me tell you, that is not the case. But this is the most common confusion among the student. Public sector, public company, private sector, private company. Very good, Dhruv. Very good. Very precise and very accurate definition. Okay, let me tell you. This was actually very good definition. And I think Ria have also given a definition. Public company means a company in which funds are invested by public, and private company is the one. Very good, Ria. Your definition is actually accurate. Very good. Okay. So those who are not aware, don't worry. This is why in the class that is why we will learn. Okay. So first of all, one confusion. Public sector is not equal to public company. Okay. Public sector is where government has invested money. Remember in the last class we discussed that wherever government has invested money, that will be public sector. Like we discussed that government invest in sectors where it tries to provide the benefit to the public in general, where private sector has not provided those benefits. Or let's say defense and security, where government thinks that this is a very risky area, so it cannot be given to the private sector. Okay, so this is where government invest. Public company is not a company where government invests. Okay, we will discuss both possibilities, that when government invests and when government does not invest. Okay, what public company means? A company that takes money from public. That means there can be no involvement of government, there can be zero involvement of government, and still it will be a public company. What public company means? That where we invite public to invest in us. Basically, we will be taking money. Those who are in India, they might have seen a movie called Guru, or maybe a very recent series, 1992 Scam, a very recent series about Harshad Mehta. So in this, if you understand the basics of stock market, you will understand that once you are a public company, what you do, you invite people to invest in you. You take money from basically from people and you give them little bit of ownership. Let's say I have 10 floors. Okay, I have 10 floors with me. So what I will do, basically, if I want money, I will keep 9 floors with me and sell 1 floor to one bad person. Now this person and me combined will be owning this 10-floor building. Okay, it's just that I have taken the money and this person has taken the ownership. Similarly, in a company, what happens when we want money, when we want to expand the company, let's say we need money to expand, and one of the money that is available is basically with the public. If you go to bank, bank will charge you interest. If you go to government, government will charge you interest. They might charge you less interest, but still they will charge you. So in order to get a free money, you sell your ownership, and when you sell your ownership, that ownership is given to public. So that is a public company. Public company, again, please understand, a company where you basically invite money from the public. Now what is a private company then? Very simple. This is the definition of Companies Act. Definition of Companies Act is a private company is which is not a public company, which is not a public company. Now what does it mean? Don't worry, I will be coming to your comments. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring. Okay. Private company, basically this implies that where public has not invested, where public has not invested. What it means? It means that, let's say, if I want to start a company and I have my savings, or let's say my friends, family, I take money from them and start a company. I'm not inviting a public. Please understand what public means. Basically, let's say if I'm inviting money from thousands of people, let's say lakhs of peoples. Okay, you won't believe that right now in Tesla or in SpaceX, like the shareholder of the Tesla is in millions, not in one or two individuals. They are in millions. Like let's say if I talk about Tesla, so if Tesla has 100% shares, okay, share basically means percentage of ownership, percentage of ownership. So in this, Mr. Elon Musk, who is basically who started the company, who's right now running the company, he's the director as well as owner. So he right now currently holds, this is not exact figure, this is just for the purpose of explaining you. So he currently owns, let's say, 55%. So he's the owner because he owns the majority. Rest 45% is with the public. And these number of public shares, how many they are? They are in crores, crores of shares. Okay, these crores of shares are distributed among millions of people. Like not millions exactly, there may be lakhs of people, not millions, but just for the sake of simplicity, that there are many people who have basically given their money to this company. So this is why this is a public company. What would be a private company? A private company where very few individual, few individual invest, very few individual invest to start a company. That will be a private company. Very simple. Okay, please understand, in this, government is not involved, and since its government is not involved, it will be private sector. Clear? Private sector, government sector is not equal to private company, public company. First of all, tell me whether this is clear or not. This is very common confusion among students, and ACC asks this because ACC knows students are not clear with this. First of all, tell me private sector, public sector, and private company, public company. Clear? Everyone? Dia says yes. Anirudh says yes. Yes, Shreya says yes. Okay, okay, nice, nice, nice. Okay, good. Now, one more thing, just to add your clarity. When I say government will not be part of private or public company, doesn't mean that government does not open companies. Government also opens companies. So if government invest in any company, government invest in any company, this happens. Government sometimes open, companies with, private players. Like, let's say government wants, AI. Right now artificial intelligence is one of the buzz of the world. So let's say if some engineers, they open a company, but they think that they need funding, so they go to the government, because they also have a belief that government should control this artificial intelligence for the sake of public security. So the government will also have a stake in this. In this case, let's say this company is public or private, whatever, public or private, whatever. Most likely it will be public, but in any case, be it public, be it private company, in this case, this will be a public sector because government got involved. Here, government was not involved. That's why it was a private sector public company, private company. If government got involved, it was a public sector, public company, private company. Clear now? Crystal clear, everyone? Yes? Any doubt? So private sector, public sector defined by the government stake. Okay. Public company, private company defined by who is basically investing money. Okay, if it is basically few individuals, basically they starting their own company, that is private company. If we invite the public to basically invest in us, that will be a public company. Just like Tesla, Reliance, let me, all big companies are basically public companies. Walmart, any company you name, Unilever, let's say Apple, okay, Google, basically Alphabet, General Motors, Samsung, all these big companies, they are public companies. Why they are public companies? Because in order to expand they need money, and they take the money from public and invest in their company. Okay, they sell their ownership. How much ownership they will be selling depends on the company. Let's say right now the ownership of the Tesla would be, let's say, 55%. That is just a hypothetical number. It may be more, it may be less. Okay, but majority of the share is held by the Mr. Elon Musk. Okay, now coming back here. So what I was saying, I was actually explaining the PLC and limited. Now this public limited and private, this private limited is clear. I hope so. Okay. In case of UK, if you see a company named PLC, that will be public limited. If you see a limited, that means a private limited. But actually, that is not case for everyone. Okay, not in every country this happens. Okay, I will show you 3 cases. UK public company, it will be shown as PLC. Private company, it will be shown as limited. Now in India, what happens? In India, when we say public company, so we denote public company with limited only. In India, when a company is registered as public company, it is denoted as limited company. But if it is a private company, then we say private limited. So one case for UK, one case for India, and in US, these things like PLC, what you would find, incorporation and LLC, limited liability company, and incorporation, INC. Like I will check again for the US, but this is for US, UK, and India. Now, why I'm telling you this is because this large denotion, how basically company is identified, depends and varies country to country. Like Darren, can you confirm how companies are denoted in Dubai for public and private? If you are aware, otherwise no worries. Oh, no, okay, no worries, no worries. I'll check it for you. Don't worry. So this is the only reason I have told you. See, a company can be public limited basically based on the law, basically based on the law of the country. They will denote a name. So in UK, please remember it is PLC. In as a private company, it will be limited. But in India, it is opposed. It is basically different. For public company, we use limited, and for private company, we use private limited. Okay, this is how things goes by. Okay, so this was the denotion name. Now coming back to this limited liability company, they are identified as X Limited or X PLC. This is public, this is private, and are legal separate entities. I hope we understand legal separate entity known, and they have a owner which are shareholder. So Mr. Elon Musk, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, they are the shareholder of Reliance and basically Tesla respectively. Okay, shareholding basically means 100% share, basically 100% share, and you distribute this share to people. This is basically percentage of ownership, basically is called shareholding. Percentage of ownership. In my property example, let's say I have a building of 10 floor. If I sell the property floors like 1 floor, 2 floor, 3 floor, so that will be basically the percentage of ownership transferred to these people. Okay. The interesting thing about this shareholding is you can basically have any number of shares, any number of shares. That's why you can have a percentage, let's say 10.66678, any kind of decimal percentage of ownership. The divisible point for the percentage ownership is basically any amount. Okay. Because there are crores of shares of issued, so that's why the ownership can be divided into any unit. It's just that you will be holding as number of shares. Now, advantage of PLC, public limited company: easier capital raising as it's simpler to get funds for a bank and other lenders, separation of ownership and control. Please understand, when you open a company as a public or private limited, be it any company, banks will be more willing to give you your loan. Can anyone tell me why? Because the problem would be that company would be limited, and since it would be limited, bank cannot claim any amount more than the assets of the company. Then why banks are willing to fund the company if it's a public or private company, if it's a limited company basically? Can anyone think like why bank will be willing to give loan to a company? Higher interest rate. Okay. Well, from business standpoint, this is not a bad point, Janme. Janamjay, sorry. So it's not a bad point. High interest rate is not a bad point. But it is actually anyone like high interest rate. You can charge high interest rate from anyone who you feel is more riskier. And the hint is, this is the interest rate to promote businesses. But banks are also, for profit making. Banks are also for profit making. Why they are interested in promoting businesses? Maybe some banks which are government, they definitely want to promote businesses, but banks, who are private players, they want to basically earn profit like an investment. So the reasoning is basically the nature of the company. Companies, since they have a limited liability, they have so much regulatory compliance requirement. Remember, we are ACCS. We registers the company, we audit the company, we check the company, we prepare the financial statement of the company, and company's financial statements are published in the public. Like anybody can access the financial statement of the company. Why? Because if you remember in our example, uh, the banker example, yeah, here bankers could not recover money beyond 10 crore. So to be fair to bankers, we need to give them information that this company only has 10 crore. So when you are giving borrowing to this company, be careful. Okay, how much money you will give them, that is up to you, but you should know that they only have 10 crores of assets. So why are you giving them 15 crores of assets? Okay. So be cautious. So to be fair to the borrowers, we publish this information to public company. In case of small businesses and the small proprietor who are not limited company or who are not checked by any laws or regulation, the most challenging part for them is to get loan from bank. Why? Because for bank it will be very difficult to check how these companies are performing. Why? Because you check somebody's performance through using their financial statement, balance sheet, profit and loss. Okay, you know about somebody when you check their books. But because this small proprietor, these small businesses don't, keep book of accounting very properly or very formal documented. So that's why it's very hard for bank to check their, financial statement and performances. So that's why bank prefer companies, because companies regularly prepare their financial statement and books of accounts. Okay, this is what you will be learning in your financial accounting and financial reporting. You will be learning basically how to prepare the books of accounts, how to prepare financial statement. That is one of the key area of your study, right? So companies prepare their financial accounting, basically financial reporting and financial statements very carefully, and they are regulated. They are governed by the law. So that's why there are less chances of inaccuracies and fraud happening in the financial statement of a company. So that's why bank, prefer the company because of less risk involved. Clear, everyone? We have to go to MCA for the financials of a company. Yeah, in India, this is MCA. In UK, this is house of company. In UK, I think this is house of company. House of companies. Like we have a parliamentary system now, similarly UK has a parliamentary system. In this they are called House of Lord, House of Chancery. Like we have member of parliament and member of Rajya Sabha, so they have House of Lords and House of Chancery. And similar to our Ministry of Corporate Affairs, they are basically um, House of basically exact name I'm not able to recall, but this is similar, like House of Lords or House of Companies, something like that. Okay, so bank prefers companies which are registered. Companies with the limited liability, bank prefers because they are regulated by law. They will be preparing the financial statement, so it will be easier for bank to know about the credit history. Those who are aware, we get credit scores, right? Because of the online system that we are right now living in, the online environment we have. So we, our transactions that we have done in the past can be tracked easily, so that give us rating, so that helps bank to determine how much loan they want to give. Similarly, checking the financial statement of a company helps bank to track how much company has performed, how better company has performed, sorry. So this way bank will be preferring the companies, okay, because in the company, why it is easier? Because they have information which is not easily available in case of small proprietors, okay. And they are not also reliable in case of small proprietor. What if nobody's checking the information of small proprietor, where in case of company which are registered with the company law, their books are checked by the auditor, and auditor is none other than you guys, ACCAs, okay. Some of you will be preparing financial reporting, financial statements. Some of you will be checking them as an auditor. Some of you will be preparing for the taxation. Okay, separation of ownership and control, as shareholder do not have to manage the company directly. They can hire the expertise, like Sundar Pichai is hired by Google owners, and Mr. Satya Nadella was hired by Mr. Bill Gates. Okay, so you can hire a specialist to run your company, and you don't need to basically run the company yourself. Disadvantages: it's a very high burden, cost. The administration is very high. There is very time consuming, lot of labor power, lot of manpower, and lot of cost is required to run the company. Less privacy, because your financial statements are published, so your competitors will be aware about your financial position. Okay, so this is actually one of the big disadvantages, that your information is public, so it is accessible even to your competitors. But this is the cost of limited liability. This is the cost of limited liability. Okay, you want to enjoy limited liability, you have to take the responsibility of limited liability. Okay, it's not like a like you have just opened a limited liability, now you will do the business whatever way you want. Because think about it, let's say I have opened a public company, I invite the money of public, I take the money, I start buying car, I start buying a home for myself and forget the company. So that's why this information should be available to the public, what I'm doing with the money of the public. So if you have a limited liability, you have a responsibility of limited liability. Dhruv have a very good question, that whether we can basically show any incorrect numbers, like whether we can fake financial statements. That is the question basically. Can we, this is actually the accounting word. Can we cook our books? Can we cook our books? Answer is you will be punished, and you will be punished severely. Just only 10 years jail if you are a public company. Only 10 years jail. And there will be no limited liability. Your personal property will be confiscated. It will be sold. Whatever damage has happened will be recovered from you. No limited liability in case of fraud. Yes, only 10 years. So if you remember last class, we discussed that there was a wheel. There was a wheel that was protecting you. There was a wheel. Yeah. There was this wheel, if you remember, this wheel. This green color wheel, this wheel was there, and it will be lifted. It will be lifted. It's called wheel lifting. If anytime you commit any type of fraud, forget about the limited liability. Court will lift the basically wheel, and basically you will be personally liable. So you have limited liability power, but it is a very big responsibility. Clear, everyone? Why I'm paying basically, why I'm spending time here, because it is important for your understanding. It is very important for your understanding. Maybe you are not aware like how fundamental this is for your basically going forward understanding. Because to me, unfortunately, it took me 3 to 2 years to understand this very simple thing, that what is public company, what is private company, what is the use of limited word, what is the use of limited company. Like when I was studying at my time, because we used to memorize the definitions, we did not pay attention to what was going on, and nobody actually paid us enough of attention like what was basically being taught there. But no worries, it's good that we learned it from the experience. Okay, these are the advantages, these are the disadvantages. Types of limited company in the UK. Private limited company will be usually having a name limited. It is compulsory to show the limited word after your name, and for public company it will be X limited, where shares are often listed. Please remember, the word is often, not always. Okay, you can be a public company, but your share may not necessarily be listed on stock exchange. That is a very complete discussion. What is stock exchange, what is listing, what is share market? That is a complete discussion. That is complete different discussion. We will not having it today, but whenever I get time, I will be introducing this to you, though not necessarily important for your syllabus, but if in case I get the time, I will introduce it to you. Okay, again, a very practical aspect of your knowledge. So limited liability, all clear, guys? Limited liability, you will not be basically, nobody can recover the amount more than your assets. You will have a separate entity. Separate entity gives the owner the right to hire somebody to manage the company, maybe the directors. They can themselves appoint the directors. Advantages are that bank will prefer us, but the cost will be that we need to provide the financial information on annual basis. We need to comply with the laws and regulation. There will be a lot of cost. Okay, and if we want, we can also invite the money from the public and basically call ourselves as public limited. If we want, we can continue with our money only if we think that this is good for our business, and that we will be called a private limited. Normally big companies are not private companies. Okay, normally. Okay, like in India we have Geo. What I remember right now, Geo is still a private company. We have Geo, but Geo is still not a listed company. Reliance is listed company, Geo is not. Okay, because Geo is currently directly managed by the Reliance Group, so that's why it's still a listed company. Because any private company whose parent is a basically is a listed company will still be considered a listed company. Okay, but normally it happens that big businesses usually are listed. Okay, you will not find a single business. If you find, do let me know. You will not find a single business that is a private company and still basically a multinational. Okay, very rare, very rare. No, there is no limitation of amount. You can invest any amount you want. Okay, the purpose is to why these companies are basically created is to promote the businesses, so you can expand your business as much as you want. Because we right now live in the capitalist world. Capitalist world basically means you attract the money from your current money, and if you can attract, so attract as much as you can, as long as it does not create monopoly. That is something we will learn in our next chapter. Chapter number 2, government's role, how government manage the monopoly. Okay, Rohan, run your query is solved. Okay, anyone else? Now let's finish the chapter. Okay, let me take a sip of water. In the meantime, please anyone let me know if you have any query. Sorry. So This was basically how we define the businesses based on ownership, control, activity, profit, non-profitability, legal form, size, source of finance. Finance accounting, basically preparer of financial statement, preparer of financial statements. Okay. Rowan question was basically which department I work. So I just responded to that. Okay. Now tell me what are the sectors? Like we have agriculture sector. Agriculture sector, this is how we eat food. Okay. So the farmers that the people that produce the food, basically sowing it in the soil and basically then the crops and then cutting it and then basically selling in the market. Agriculture sector. So most of the countries have agriculture sector, basically depending on the percentage. Like in India we have, let's say, 23% to 25%, like not sure this figure. It can be 25 to 50. No, it's 25% agriculture, 50% service, 50% service, and rest is like 19 to 20% is basically manufacturing. That is basically current state of India. And China, what I remember is like they have 75% is in manufacturing. Like any country that has manufacturing as their primary sector, that country is definitely a developed country. Most likely that country will be a developed country. Why? Because in manufacturing sector you will have lot of jobs getting created. India is a service hub to the globe. India provides the lot of services. Like India is the accounting global hub. Whatever accounting services are provided across the globe, that comes from India. How can I say? Because I am currently working in accounting department, and I know we deal with the UK people, we deal with the US people, we deal with the Mexico, Japan, France. So we deal lot of people in the accounting stream. So that's why India is the service center for the basically India is a service center. It provides a lot of services, IT services, accounting services. Basically India is a basically talent pool for the service sector. China is a talent pool for the manufacturing, and for chip manufacturing, I think it's Taiwan. So they are basically countries that have basically their different sectors. So basically, depending on the country, they have their own sector domination. And if you have manufacturing as your dominating sector, most likely you will be a very developed country. Okay. We will also learn importer exporter in the upcoming chapters. Don't worry, many things to cover here. Manufacturing, hopefully we are aware, inputting raw material, buying raw material, then basically applying labor and basically technology, and then converting them into the product. Tata Steel, I hope we are aware about Tata Steel company. Tata is a global brand right now. Or basically, if you're not aware, Tata, unfortunately, so it's Tesla. They acquire the raw material, they basically input the labor by engineers, by basically converting the car and then basically putting the technology there and then finishing the product. Like Tata is my favorite example, not because of the India, but because Tata introduced the Tata Indica like in 1998 or something like that. And still after 20 years, this car basically went like in 2018, like till 2018, it was there. So it had been basically running a very small, basically the project that it introduced was a very futuristic. Okay. So manufacturing as an example, extracting raw material, mining. Anybody who's not a bit aware about mining or basically oil refinery, let's say Reliance Oil Refinery. I gave you one example of Reliance Oil Refinery, if you remember, that Reliance goes into the sea, extract the oil in the sea, and then basically refine it. So this is also extraction. We have mining. Let's say we want to extract the coal. Okay, coal is used for energy consumption, fossil fuel, right? Energy, basically converting one source into basically another. Like after extraction you convert the energy. Let's say not only this coal, but also wind energy or basically solar energy. So there can be different sectors. There's an energy sector, there's a extraction sector, there's a manufacturing sector, there's agriculture sector, there's a retail distribution, very common. Like anyone can anyone tell me any retail, one of the most popular retailers in India or outside country? They're very famous names. I'll just name you and you'll just remember them. But I want to hear from you whether you are aware. Retail distributors. Okay, nice. Very good. HM. HM basically the cloth distributor. But HM does not make basically clothing. They do not make clothes. Dhruv. Zara, HM. I think that they also make their clothes, or they do not. Anyone? Okay. Delivering goods to end consumer, what basically retailing is, you are not producing, you are buying from somebody and then selling it. Very good, Rohan. Big Bazaar. Big Bazaar, Reliance Retail. In case you guys you are not aware about it, don't worry. We have Walmart, right? Very good, dear. Walmart. So these are basically retailers, distributors. They buy in bulk, then they sell it to the end consumer. Like your local shopkeeper, how your local shopkeeper buys? They buy from the whole distributor, wholesaler. Wholesaler buys from the distributor, right? So there's a chain of people basically coming there. Manufacturer produce here. They basically, contact the distributor or wholesaler. Wholesaler buys them in bulk, and then they basically pass it on to the local shopkeepers that you and I buy. Okay, they can also, these manufacturer can directly have a contacts with Walmart or Big Bazaar or Reliance Retail, and there they transfer their goods directly. So if manufacturers selling goods directly to businesses, this is called B2B. If manufacturers selling to basically, this will always be B2B, most likely that they will be selling to the retailer and distributor, and this retailer or basically distributor selling to the consumer, this is called B2C, business to consumer, business to business. Very common term. I think you might have heard it already, right? Intellectual production, very important one. Very important one. Software, publishing, film, music, whatever whatever is patent, know-how, or basically knowledge transfer, or let's say entertainment also. But entertainment can also come in the service industry. Let's not keep the entertainment and knowledge transfer also, let's exclude it. Because this will come in the entertainment industry. What is happening in the intellectual production? Let's say I have created a software. Right now there is a, artificial intelligence. There's a basically electric cars that are, auto self-driven car. I think we are aware about this concept, right? That car will be driven automatically. There will not be requirement of any the driver, right? So these are some intellectual properties. Basically, some people, use their intelligence and then basically created this. So what intellectual property or basically these things are is that they they give the person who has innovated it, they give the privilege to the person who has created it. Privilege means basically first this person have, because this person has introduced such a good technology to the world, so they should have the right to first commercialize it. Okay, so patent usually normally have, let's say patent or know-how normally have 8 years of life. Like if you have a patent, so nobody can else produce the same thing that you have done. Maybe the technology will not be difficult, but because you were the one who basically introduced it to the world, so it is your right, it is your fundamental right to commercialize it for a particular time being, and that is normally 8 years. After 8 years, yeah, it is very good, right? Because it is, some people basically put their lot of effort and all that, so that's why they are rewarded for such things. So this is intellectual property sector where basically patent is very common here, that's why I mentioned it. But this also includes software development, publishing, film, music. So anything that is, done on a software basis, that is the intellectual production. What I was explaining is patent and know-how. That patent and what is patent and know-how. Now service industry. No, Darren. It cannot be reapplied. Basically, the purpose of giving you patent was basically letting you enjoy the commercial activity of that. Okay, that was the only reason. I have so many examples to give you. Uh, Do you know? Let me just throw one very good thing about the patent. Nescafe, Nescafe have one coffee machine, and this coffee machine they have made like more than 16 to 18 patents. Like the way this coffee machine is done, like you might have seen it in a reel in a social media account if you are using a Instagram or like YouTube, anything, reel or short. These are very common things right now. So if you see, the Nescafe has a very particular machine that takes a process to grind the coffee and then make the coffee out of it, right? So what would happen, this coffee will be basically this coffee machine that Nescafe has basically produced. This basically put them in a lot of years. So Nescafe has patented. The thing is, Nescafe sell this machine on cost to cost basis. They do not charge a single penny of profit on it because the machine was very expensive. So Nescafe decided to sell it on cost to cost basis. Can anyone tell me why? Why a company that has put so much R&D and created such a beautiful machine that everybody wants to enjoy, they are selling it on cost to cost basis? Why company wants to do that? Arnav says market penetration. Very good thought, Arnav. Very good thought. Royalty sounds suspicious. No, it's a very genius market strategy. It's a very genius market strategy. Unfortunately, we will not be discussing marketing strategies in this subject. We will be discussing marketing strategy in SBL. Yeah, they have patents, so I use then shouldn't they make profit out of it so that people can get used to it? Very close, Dia. See, Dia, your answer is very close. What they do, they have sold a machine to grind the coffee. Now they would need the coffee beans to grind it. So Nescafe found that they can sell this coffee beans on high margins. Like the coffee beans margin is like 800%, 800%, something like that. Okay, this is just a hypothetical number, not actual number, but I'm just telling you the margin here. So they sell this coffee beans on regular basis because why would somebody wants to buy these coffee beans if people have ready-made coffee available in the market? You can have a coffee powder anywhere you can buy, but they needed people to have this machine installed, because once they have this machine, then definitely they will not go for coffee powder, they will only go for coffee beans. Yeah, Arnav has got the point. Like Gillette blade is more expensive, but they are basically try to make people buy it because the margin is somewhere else. So margin is in the coffee beans, but coffee powder is available in the market, so that's why they provide this on the cost to cost basis. Okay, even after having 16 to 18 patents. Clear? So this is how patents and market strategy you can basically penetrate and basically create a basically capture a market share. So again, this is something related to very specific business MBA strategy, but I hope you get the point. Okay. Retailing, distribution, transportation, banking, anything that I need to explain here? Anyone? Anything I need to explain here? I hope all this is self-explanatory, how this is a service industry, right? Let me know in case anyone has any doubt. Otherwise, we will move on. Are we clear, guys? No doubt? No. So Zomato comes under service industry? Yeah. Very good question, Ria. Zomato is a service provider. Basically, they provide the transportation service, Ria. They do not sell the pizza or food. They sell the basically they provide the transportation service. So had they been selling the food, then they basically would be coming under this retail distribution because they are selling the food. Okay, food consumption, FMCG, fast mobile consumer goods. FMCG is the sector for retail actually. FMCG. fast movable consumable goods. Okay, so even the food industry comes here, food industry also comes here. So here Zomato would have come under the FMCG as the food provider, but actually Zomato does not provide the food. Zomato provide the fast delivery. Food is provided by the local vendor, the shop that Zomato, like, online food order. In case nobody is aware, uh, Zomato is the online food provider. Okay, so you can go and order your food on Zomato online, and that food will be delivered to your home. So that is the service they provide. But Zomato is actually providing, in essence, the travel service, the transport service. Okay, Zomato is not basically making the food. Food is made by the local vendor. Okay, Leah, got it? So this was basically based on sector. This was purely sector. So we discussed couple of sectors. This is not exhaustive list. There are many sectors. Like we just discussed food sector. There is a aviation sector. So there are multiple types of sectors. In service industry, transportation has a very variety of change. Banking, finance has a variety of change. Okay, so there can be any number of sectors basically coming under mainly in these categories. Not an exhaustive list, but overall this is the category we define the sectors. Okay, guys. Now, business organization based on this feature, we have already discussed the public sector and basically separate legal entity. For commerce, we use the limited liability and sole proprietorship. Not for profit, I hope. Yeah. Airlines basically, as I said through, if governments are involved, then basically private sector. If governments are not involved, then public sector. In India, we have Air India. Okay, Air India owned by the government. Okay, I think they have already sold it to the Tata Group, but before that, government was involved. So that's why it was partially government, partially private sector. Because Indigo, Muftaza, Etihad, these airlines were also there parallelly. So many sectors government is also involved, like hospital government also run hospitals, and basically private sector also hospitals, schools, government parallelly, private sector also parallelly. So wherever government is involved, that will be government particular sector. Wherever private is involved, there will be private sector. Okay, Dhruv? Not for profit, basically not primary objective. Profit is not primary objective. Okay, that's why please see what I'm writing not primary objective does not mean that they are not profitable. Charities, basically any social cause basically for the donation, they take for the donation. Not for profit organization normally have subscription fees. Okay, like I told you, my friend basically provide free education to children who does not have resources, so I pay him subscription fee on monthly basis. Trade union, basically labor union. We have employees in a large organization. Let's say Tata and Maruti is a very good example. Like anytime there's a strike in the Maruti group, Tata's shares price would go up. This is actually used to happen, that labor union in a company, let's say there are thousands of employees, so those employee wants to raise their voice, so they create their union. Because individually they may not be powerful, but together combining their effort. Because if a union says, okay, I will not be working, so they will go on strike. So management need to listen to them, what union wants, what trade union wants. So trade union are normally basically for the labor, sometimes also for like garment industry, textile 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 garment industry is called textile industry. So even textile have a cartel like trade union. Okay, sometimes the local markets have a union. So trade union normally reflects to labor union or any kind of cartel. Okay, local authorities basically part of government. Like in India, we have municipal corporation, municipal department. And this is basically in every country there is a department that do the cleaning of the city, do basically all the administrative work. So that is municipal corporation. So this will be coming local authority, but still they will be government authorities. Ngos ngos are also NPOs, but they are for a social cause. Charities and basically NGOs are most likely same. Charity may be temporary. NGOs are basically permanent. Okay, NGOs are basically established for a permanent, like uh, children safety, like cry is one of the international organization, like international or national. Okay, PETA is international. Okay, so these are, they are there and basically working continuously, not for one or two time. Charities are normally one or two time. Cooperatives and mutual associations. So like commerce is basically for, owners. Commerce businesses are for owners. Cooperatives are basically for employees, because employees are the owners. In India we have Amul as an example. Amul is a very classical example where the people who are working in the Amul are actually the owner of the Amul. That is called cooperative society or cooperative, basically associations, cooperative or mutual associations. The purpose of these association is basically to promote the welfare of their employee. They will be earning profit, but that profit will be belonging to the employees and not to the basically owner. Basically, Dhruv, the thing is, this is basically this cooperative society, ask people to participate. Okay, they will be working for the company, and whatever profit will be coming, that will be distributed for the people. And in this model, one person represent one vote. Okay, one person represents one vote. Whereas in case of company, a person can have multiple shares. Like in case of Tesla or basically Reliance, most of the share are held by their CEO, basically Mr. Elon Musk or Mr. Mukesh Ambani. So they are the owners. Okay, majority shares they hold them. So they individually don't represent one vote. They individually represent multiple votes. But in case of cooperative society, they basically go with, democratic approach. They go with a democratic approach that one person would be having one vote. Sir, are all NGOs are NPOs? As I said, enough, by default, NGOs are NPOs. By default, NGOs are NPOs. But it does not mean that NGO cannot earn profit. Okay, as I said, NPO's primary objective is not to earn profit, but that does not mean they do not earn profit. Many NGOs are profitable. Then basically question raises on their business model, like what are they formed for? Because see, let me clear this doubt. This is again one of the common questions for the students. Okay. First of all, Dhruv, define who owns the stake in the group. If it's a government school, okay, government school are normally NGOs. Okay, they are for public service. They provide cheaper services. Okay, they do not charge heavy fees. Definitely definitely oh, sorry, I'm saying NGO. Sorry, why I'm saying NGO? If it's government school, then it's a basically school, that it's a basically public sector, not NGO. Why? Because government is there. Okay okay Second, if government is not there, government is missing, but again, this school is for public service and cheaper fees. And basically their primary intention is to promote education. Okay, in that case it's an NGO. Why NGO? Because government is missing here. Otherwise, if government was involved, it was a public sector. Let's say this school purpose is to earn profit. Like in Delhi itself, in Delhi we have a DPS, Delhi Public School. The name is public, but actually it's a private school, and it earns profit. And if I remember correctly, one of the client student, I was doing I was an intern at that time, like 2014 2015 time. I was actually basically submitting I was actually, sorry, not submitting fees, I was vouching in school invoice. because for tax purpose we can get a we can get a children benefit, like if we pay a fee for our children, so we can get a tax benefit on that. So I was vouching this invoice, and if I remember, at 2014 the fees was for 3 months. For 3 months the fees was like somewhat 2 lakh. So definitely this school's primary purpose is not earning profit. For 3 months only 2 lakhs. Don't worry, this is how capitalism work. This is how capitalism work. Nothing to be shocked about. So some schools have crores of fees, so you don't want to hear that. So this is actually a reality. So this school purpose is basically to this will be a private school, private sector school, and their purpose would be private. So please understand, NGO purpose is not to earn profit. But let's say if NGO is given donations by government, because government is saying NGO, you are doing a very good job, so please take donation, and somehow NGO gets surplus. So in NGOs, not for profit organization, we do not say profit, we say surplus. So if any time NGO gets a surplus, that's fine. That's fine. They can have a surplus. The problem is that if they anytime deviate from their primary activity, then they will be converted in the private school and not remain any NGO. Okay, so clear who asked this question? So Arnav, are you clear? Clear now? So this is the bottom line. No. Surplus and profits are two different things. Profit denote basically the people who have invested money to earn profit. Surplus is basically for people who have contributed their money. Understand. This is something for your business knowledge. Surplus is for people who have contributed their money, who have donated their money. Whereas profit is for people who have invested their money. Okay, they have invested their money. These people will be taking home the profit they have earned. Whereas the surplus will be basically whenever you have a surplus, so that will be again invested in the cause. Okay, that is the difference. Please keep it in mind. In the exam, please don't write for any commercial organization. Though in the BT you would not be writing it, but in any exam, do not write surplus for any profitable entity. Write profitable wherever they are required to say profitable. This is the discussion we already have about the owners and profit and non-profit. Basically, owner and the other stakeholder. Individual will be earning profit, and in case of NGOs, you will not have owners, you would have trustees. Okay, government basically donating, people are donating the money, so these people are trustees. They charge salary, but they do not take any surplus with them. Whatever surplus is of the organization, they keep the surplus within the organization. They would use it for the purpose of the cost. For example, schools, let's say school is an NGO, so the if any surplus is there, so that surplus will be used by the school and not by the trustee. Trustee only charge salary here, whereas in case of owner, they charge the profit. Source of funding, as I told you, business basically generate profit, so that profit will be its bloodline. Whereas in case of NGO, it would not be profit, it would be donations and subscriptions, right? Donations and subscriptions. Business basically does sale of goods and basically charge profit on it. As I said, buy less, sell more. This is the concept of business. But in case of public, this is basically providing the service first and then basically seeing whether there is any surplus or not. Goals, profit oriented, and another one goals is basically social needs. Measuring performances, very important, very important, very important, very important. Profit basically, when we talk about calculating the profit, when we talk about how to measure whether a business has been successful, we look at the profit. We look at the profit. Okay, whether company has made profits over the years, where company share price has increased. Whereas in case of an NGO, we look for the value for money. Value for money, like it's already written here. So value for money, and this value for money is basically measured based on economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. This is also known as 3 E's. Very important, guys. Please remember, whenever we need to basically measure the value of, whenever we need to measure the performance of an NGO, we will be using three E's. Okay, not for profit organization, NPO or NGOs are measured based on value for money. Three E's: economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Yes, NPO can be company. NPO can be a company. Okay, NPO can be a company. You can register yourself for company. Problem is that your primary objective is not profit. In India, we have Section 8 company. In India, we have Section 8 company. As per Section 8 of the Companies Act, you can get yourself registered as a not-for-profit organization. Your primary goal will not be profitable. Basically, would not be profitable. Your primary goal would be a social cause, and for that cause, you will be running as a not-for-profit organization. Okay. So that is one thing. NPO can be company. Please don't confuse that companies are only for profit. Companies can be for not for profit organization. As I said, this is the basically this is the rule you can see. If government has invested, it will be a public sector. If government has not invested, it can be an NGO that is working for social cause, and that NGO can be a company. Okay, that NGO can be a company. Fine, as long as its primary objective is not basically profit. Okay. Otherwise, if its aim is to profit, then it's a private school. Okay. Use of technology, definitely the business that has commercial purpose, they will have more advanced technology as compared to any NPO or NGO, right? So if you provide value for money, your objective is to because R&D is very limited. R&D basically is very limited, and to do R&D you need lot of funding. You need lot of funding. You need money to get wasted, because when you are doing R&D, there are many times that test gets failed. So you need to have that surplus, and that surplus can only come from profits. Okay, clear, guys? My speed is okay na? It's not too fast. Okay, I think we are through with this. No, for everyone, please. Everyone, please comment whether need to slow down or it's fine. Okay, let's take a 5 minutes break, guys, and then we'll basically start the Mendelow's metrics. Okay, let's take a 5 minutes break. We'll have two breaks, one 5 minute right now, one 5 minute after that. Like around 8 or 8:10. Okay, let's have a 5 minutes break. Hello, are we back? Hello, 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 hello. We are here. Yes. Okay, nice. Okay, let's finish this topic also. This is cooperative society, and then we'll start one important topic, which is stakeholder. Because I think Dhruv, you asked this question about whether we have stakeholder and shareholder, right? Okay. So cooperative society, again, as I told you, cooperative society is similarly like you will be earning for profit, but this where the owners is basically the worker or the customer. Okay, so these people will be owning the business. They will have basically open membership. Anybody can join. Like in Amul, anybody who have a cow or a buffalo, they can basically donate their milk to the company, and they will be given a fee for that, and whatever profit is basically shared with them. Okay, this is how the cooperative society works. Okay, if they want to make any decision about the Amul, so that will be basically done by one member, one vote. Okay, distribution of surplus in proportion to the purchases, and promotion of education and social goals. So in case of Amul, let's continue with the example. So they also, promote the education of the member for basically their goal, like how basically milk can be, improved, the quality of the milk can be improved. So this is the purpose of the cooperative society open membership. Although limited company also have some features of democratic control, but the problem would be basically one vote, one share. Okay, if you have higher percentage of votes, then you will be having more share. Okay, share is nothing but percentage of ownership. In case still anybody is not clear with this, percentage of ownership. Mutual association, very similar concept, just is that this is that it exists for the benefit of their member. Example includes saving and loan organization, building society in UK. So cooperative society is much larger, and basically we will be earning profit. In this case, profit earning is not compulsory. Profit earning is not compulsory, rather it is basically for the community. Okay, so sometimes you do it for your own community, and basically you want to for the welfare of the community. So it is very small size as compared to cooperative, and the purpose would be for promoting the community. Let's say you want to have a clean community. Okay, so for that purpose you can have a society and basically ask people to contribute and provide the fund, and let's have a clean society. Okay, so that is the purpose of the mutual association. Here again, there would be people who would be promoting. Now the confusion could happen that you might confuse the NGO and basically NPO. Again, these NGOs is basically on permanent basis, and whereas mutual association is for the purpose of providing the benefit to a particular entity and for a short time. So these are some small differences but not very relevant. The main thing would be basically understanding the cooperative society, NGO and NPO. Okay. So this was the type of organization so far. Limit basically and cooperative society, limited liability, public sector, not for profit organization, and trade union. I think I've already covered. Local authority, yep, most of them are covered. Cooperative society bank, yeah, cooperative society bank, where there would be multiple individuals contributing the fund. To start a bank, you let's say you need 500 crore something, and banking license from the central bank. Basically, in case of you, it's federal bank. In case of India, it's a central bank. So central bank would be providing you license, and you would be basically opening the bank. So minimum capital is 500 crore. So in this case, one person would not be having this much of capital. So they would be having, cooperative society, where people would be coming and basically collecting their funds and providing to open the bank. So it would not be a public company. It would be a cooperative society. Okay, Dhruv? This is approved by the central bank of the country. So in this case, in case we have RBI. Okay. So last topic of this chapter, and very important topic, which is stakeholder. Anyone who can define this stakeholder, please don't look at here. Tell me what do you understand by stakeholder. Go with the word stakeholder. Interesting. Ownership of the company. Everyone, please pour in your answers. The people have take a chance or risk in funding for a company. But somehow, Dhruv and Darren, both of your answers are basically somehow representing the shareholder. Or max to max, I can say, basically, Darren, with your answer, it could be the banker also, lender. People related to the organization in different ways. Dia, your answer is very generic. It could not define anybody. So could you please elaborate more? Those who have interest in the organization. Okay, interesting. Ayush, can you elaborate it? What do you mean by interest? Like those who have their money invested in the company, who want to be part of the organization. No, stakeholder is very wider term, not a very limited term. And people can be those who do not want to be basically part of the organization, will be part of the organization. Not necessarily, not necessarily. Government is one of the stakeholder. Government is one of the stakeholder. They are not part of the organization. They are outside the boundary of the organization. They either take the decision or make the law. So with your words, Dia, what is happening is that government decision is affecting the business. Business is not affecting the government. It is the other way around. The intention is to confuse you, Dhruv. So that it will help you. Basically, what I'm doing, I'm just throwing you questions. I'm just throwing questions to you, and now you have to basically give me answers. If you say people who wants to be part, they, I can assure you they will be part. Like let's say protesters. There are people who protest. Basically, let's say there is a product that is introduced in the market and that is not environmental friendly. So there will be people who will be protesting the product. They are also stakeholders. So do they want to be part of the organization? And yeah, as per your answer, as I said, government is making the law. So which is affecting the business, not business affecting the government. And Ayush, you have yet to define what is interest. Do you can you define anyway what is interest? What do you mean by interest? Because your answer is very close, Ayush. Interest in activity of business. Okay. So Shreya, your answer is very accurate, but I'm not sure whether you are understanding your answer. It's like you have given me very accurate answer, but the meaning of this line is, okay. Can you elaborate more, or should I start explaining? Because your answer is very accurate, Shreya. Interest in the activities of business. Okay, let's see. Let me explain. Let me take the example that I take in the class. Mm, yeah, here's okay. Stakeholder. Let's say we have a builder. Okay, he's constructing a dam. I hope we all know what is a dam. Dam project. Okay, like a bridge. Okay, that is basically help for the water surveillance or water regulation. Water regulation, regulating the water flow. Okay, dam. There are let's say owners who have invested the money. Okay, they have provided the money, basically funded the project. So because this project is allotted by the government. Okay, so let's say this was a 1000 crore project, and these people, the people who have invested the money, they knew that this project would be prepared, let's say, in 400 crore rupees. Okay, so they would have like 600 crore as a profit. So the owner basically hired this builder. Let's say builder is also one of the owners. Builder is also one of the owners. So builder at one of the owners. And okay, no. Let's keep the different. Builder is the director of the company, and owner are the people who provided it. Okay. Then there are people who work for construction. Basically, the labor, engineer, okay, architect, all these people working here. When this dam is basically being created, there is a jungle that needs to be cut. Okay, this jungle needs to be cut to create this dam. Understand, this dam will be provided nearby villages who are unemployed right now. Okay, these people will be working here. What else? Okay, and the uh, the material, like cement and all that will be basically imported from, not from outside country, but imported from different state. Okay, because currently this village does not have the sufficient quality or basically to construct this. Now this picture is clear that we are constructing a building. There is a builder, there are owner, there are government who have allotted the project. There are people who will be working there. There are nearby villages who will be getting employment because of the project. There is a jungle that will be cut once this project starts. Are we clear about the stakeholder? And then there are suppliers that will be basically providing the material. And once this road, this dam is basically created, a road will be coming there, and there will be transportation ease for the public, because this is a dam, and then this will help, the basically road will be constructed above it. Just think of any hypothetical imagination that there is a road created over the dam, and that will help people to travel. So there will be access to the from to city, easy access. And as I said earlier, if you have electricity, if you have roads and law and order, you will become a developed nation. So road is one of the key infrastructure that government needs to provide. So here government have basically issued a tender and for this dam and basically this road project, and these are the people involved. Just because of a business organization, now please everyone, please pay attention. Just because of a business organization activity, can you see how many people are getting affected? How many people are involved? How many people are getting involved? No, Dhruv, not every shareholder is a stakeholder. Sorry, not every stakeholder is a shareholder. That is why I have given you this example. We have owners. Owners are the shareholders. Okay, Dhruv? Owners are the shareholders. They are the shareholder. We have workers. Workers are employees. They are not shareholders. But because of this project, they will be getting employment. Okay. Either they are currently employed, either they are employed or about to get employment. To get employment. Right? They have a stake in the company. Though their stake is not profit, but their stake is employment, job opportunity with this company. Either they are part of the organization or not part of the organization, right? We have supplier. Material is provided by supplier, contractor. These people would be providing they would be selling their product, they will be selling their product to the company, right? They would be selling their product to the company. So they have us buyer. Okay, think of any business. Business needs buyer, business needs customers. So for supplier, this is the customer. They are also getting their profit from the company. Because there's a construction, like I said, this project is provided by the government. Government would be having some regulations, laws for constructions, as well as government would be basically laws, and basically government, if this projects become profitable, government would be charging tax, collecting tax on this. How government collects tax? Anybody who makes profit. If this company makes profit, this government would be collecting taxes. As well as government wants this company to follow rules and regulations. Government want both things. First, government that this company provides a project completely. Second, they follows the law. Third, government collects the tax. So see, government has financial and non-financial interest. Financial and non-financial interest. Government wants to collect the tax, and they want basically true profit of the company, so that government can basically calculate the tax. Let's say government has 20% rate, so they would want this 600 multiplied by 20%. Let's say 120 crore. 120 crore. So 120 crore will be gone to the government as a financial interest, as well as whatever laws are there for the construction of a road or project. The government wants it to be followed. Government want this dam to be secured for the people. And as I mentioned, there is a jungle getting cut. So they will be environment friendly people. who are not happy with this project, not happy. Why? Because jungle is getting cut, trees are getting reduced, the animal life, okay, the environment will be getting damaged because of this. Because of this one project, environment will be damaged. Many basically animals who do not have any word to say, please listen to this word, who do not have any power, or basically do not have any voice to raise. They do not have any voice to raise, no voice to raise. So these activists want to become the voice of voiceless. These activities want to become voice of voices. So what they will do, they raise their protest. They will raise their protest against this company and with the government. These activists would come to the road, they would start boycotting this company, they would say stop the construction, stop the construction. They would basically protest against the business, they would protest against the government, right? And once this project gets completed, this would create an infrastructure, so public would benefit from this. Can you see how many stakes are involved, how many interests are involved? So stake or interest is not only financial but non-financial. So stakeholder is a very wider term, and that includes financial and non-financial. They can be employees like director, manager, employee. They can be customer, they can be supplier, they can be lenders like bank providers, bank loan. Let's say company borrows money to complete this 400 crore project. Companies borrows money from the bank. Can I introduce bank here anywhere? Bank provide the loan. So bank would be interested whether the company would be able to pay them back. But because bank knows that this project is provided by the government, so it is almost possible that this company will be the bank will be getting back their loan amount, because the value of the project is 1,000 crore and company has only asked 400 crore. So most likely bank will be getting their money back because it's a government project. So they are very secured about it. So let's say, so we have bankers who have provided the loan. We have government and agencies who wants law to follow, who want tax revenue, who want basically, employment to be generated, who wants basically infrastructure to build, right? We have local communities or basically natural environment activities, local community like villager who will be getting employment, who will be getting work. Many people have many stakes here. Everyone, is this clear that you have multiple stakeholders? Stakeholder is not shareholder. Shareholders are owners who have invested their money and who wants to increase the value of their money, which is called maximization of their wealth. This is the primary objective of shareholder and the director of the company. They want the maximization of shareholder wealth, they want the profit of the company. But director, manager, or employee, they want their salaries, they want job securities. Customer, they want the best quality product. When we buy Apple phone, when we buy Tesla car, when we go to any amusement park, what we want best services. Like you are getting, you are right now getting taught by me, you are right now getting teaching services from VG learning. What do you want? You want best educational services. Okay, supply and other business partners, what they do, they provide their supplies, they provide material to make business possible. So in that case, they are getting customers. Lender, bank will be getting interest cost and security of their money, that their money will be paid back. Okay, they are government agency. As I said, they want law to be followed, they want employment to generate, they want infrastructure, they want taxes. And we will be covering government in very detail in next chapter. They are local communities. As I told you, villagers will be getting job opportunities. Some villager, like some villager will be losing their farms. Because of the construction, their farms will be either getting destroyed or environmental will be getting destroyed. So they would be joining the natural environmentalist, right? So these are the stakeholders. And if you paid attention, so first of all, tell me, are we all clear with the stakeholder? What are stakeholders? Basically getting affected by the decision of the business, getting affected by the decision of the business. Okay, who have an interest can be financial, non-financial, who get affected by decision of business. Okay, this is stakeholder. Everyone, right? Anyone has any doubt? I am ready to spend time. If you're not clear with this, please be very clear with this. Anyone? Now, okay, I'll be just coming back to this. I'll be coming back to this. Just for your information, okay, this is a exam question. Exam question comes, what is internal stakeholder? What is connected stakeholder? And what is basically external stakeholder? External stakeholder. Okay, there is connected, there is external, and there is internal. As I said yesterday, please don't pay attention to my writing. Okay. There are lists you want, you can memorize this list, but I will be telling you one very fundamental thing. Okay. You want, you can basically memorize this list. Okay. Internal are these, connected are these, external are these. But there is a very simple logic for this. There is a boundary. There is a boundary. Whenever you are working in the organization, working within organization, you are internal stakeholder. When you're not working within the organization, but still you have basically connection, directly with the organization, then you will be connected stakeholder. And if none of these are, you will be external. Okay, basically outsiders. Let's see who are the connected. Who work within the organization? These are employees, directors. Managers, director, basically the employee who work for the organization, because they work inside they work inside the organization. It's very simple. So who are the internal stakeholder? Basically those who are inside the organization. Who are connected? Shareholders. You might be surprised, but shareholders are connected. Banks, lenders, suppliers, customers, they are connected people. Why? Because they are not working with the organization, not working within the organization. They are working outside. Though they are connected, they have invested their money, they have goods to receive, goods to basically money to pay, money to receive. Basically they will be getting return out of the organization. So that's why they are connected. Okay, but they are not internal. Internal are those only who work inside the organization. External, everyone else. Environmentalist, government, okay, local community, okay, any type of let's say large competitor, anybody who's not connected or basically internal would be external stakeholder. Anyone has any doubt? I wanted to have a clarity why this internal, connected, and external came out of. Okay, not to let you memorize this. Are we clear with this? Internal, external, connected stakeholder. Anybody has any doubt about it? This is a very fundamental thing, not to memorize. Debt holder are basically lenders. Debt holders are also called lenders. So don't get confused. What are debt holders? Now, shareholder conflict. Very interesting topic. These are the last two topics, and we'll basically wrap up this chapter. Now, if you pay attention, Now this is basically very, messy right now. So if you pay attention, so you might have noticed owners, employee or workers, government, supply. Order can be basically different. I'm just writing it for the sake. Supplier, government, basically local community, and environmentalist. Okay. You can see owner want the maximum of return, maximum of their return. Okay. Also borrowers, lender, lenders or banks. They want maximum return. Basically, they want profit only. These people want higher compensation. They want high salary. Higher compensation means high salary as well as job security. Government want taxes. Also, government want laws and regulations to be followed. Government want infrastructure. Government also wants basically the basically employment generation. That is why we have private sector. Yeah. Customers. Customer is right now in this case government. That's why I've written infrastructure here, because what is the project basically, what is the product is the dam and project. So government would be the customer, as well as public who would be using it, public who would be using this road or basically dam, that would also be a customer here. Okay, the supplier want their money to be paid, because in businesses it normally happens the supply provide the goods on credit. Okay, money to be paid. Local community wants job opportunities. Okay, some people want job opportunity, some people want protection of their farm or land. Environmentalists want basically protection of the environment, protection of jungle. They don't want this project to happen. Lender borrowers interest cost and money payment. Customer or they basically public or government, basically they want best quality, basically safe dam and road. Okay, good road. It's not like the road gets need to get construction next year, so they want good quality road. If you see, can you tell me, can we meet everyone's requirement here? Can we meet everyone's requirement here? Okay, what, is there any conflict, conflict among people? Now can you tell me where do you see the conflict? Can you tell me where do you see the conflict? Where do you see the conflict, everyone? There is a conflict. We will not be able to entertain everybody, but where is the conflict? So everybody pointed out that it is the environmentalist. Otherwise, everybody is fine. Otherwise, everybody is fine. It's environmentalist or basically the local people. They also said local people, mainly activists. So these people are, protesting. They want this project to stop. So definitely these people would be the person who we need to basically see that they are contradicting with the project. Now tell me whether company will listen to them. First thing we have identified, there is a conflict. Now tell me whether company will listen to them. If no, why? If yes, why? Most probably no, Dia says. Why, Dia? And what about rest? It can be both. Tell me why if both. Give me reason. Darren says no, they would be push it aside as trivial. Okay. Yeah, that can also be true. That can be very true. Because what Darren you have said from this, can I say they do not have sufficient power? If it's passed by the government, that then can't be questioned. Basically, you are saying there that if government pass a law, then people cannot basically protest it. That's what you're saying. Basically, that means again from your statement that people do not have sufficient power. No, that I was just kidding. But with your statement, can I say that people do not have sufficient power to overpass it? Yes, and Anirudh, you also say no because they are not shareholder, but they can also because of strict. Last line didn't get Anirudh. Okay, very good point, Dhruv. They can ignore them, but reputation of the company can alter. So there is a reputational risk for the company. Reputational risk for the company. So that means, Dhruv, that means there is some power. That means it's not like they do not have any power. They have some power, right? So what we will be seeing that if there is a conflict, if there is a conflict, how much power this person has. Remember, if this is only few environmentalists, then nobody would even bother. Like you mentioned, you are true because their power is very low. But if it's a masses, if these environmentalists somehow convince masses. Okay, like everybody is protesting, everybody is against it. You are cutting tree. What you are giving is only a dam project, and that is not even useful. Why we would want a road construction? We can travel somewhere else. Why you want to destroy the environment? If people are convinced, in that case, even the government would take back this project. Even government would need to listen to the people. In a democratic country, that would be the case, na, right? Even the government would take back this project. So your power would be depending upon how much influence you have. Let's talk about owners. You only found one conflict, but there are multiple conflicts, guys. Owners want the maximum profit. Now, how maximum profit basically increase? As I told you, you have sales, you have cost, you get profit, right? That is how you get the profit. So one way is to increase your sales. Second way is reduce your cost. Are we clear with this? If you want profit, you need to have sale, you need to have cost, the margin would be profit. Now, how to increase your profit is increasing sale. This is a government project and it's already fixed price 1000 rupees. So the only way to increase the profit is reduce cost. And if owner wants maximum profit, so maybe employee wages, employee salary will be reduced. Yes or no? Employee salary will be reduced. And if that is reduced, is it not conflicting with the employee's interest? Even directors, one not only quality, that also can create conflict, right? Conflict is not only with the environmentalist, but also with the cost, because owner want the maximum profit. See, owner have the conflict with the environmentalist, that we all know, but owner can also have conflicts with the employer, director of the company. They are basically running the company on behalf of the owner. They are getting the salary, but what if their salary cut down? We have heard these news as employee salary are reduced, employees are fired. So is it not job security issue? Is it not, let's say we have completed, let's say 70% of the project. Now we have fired, let's say 70 or 60% of the population of the workforce, because now the rest of the project can easily be done. We have created the functional fundamental structure. Now we can basically just need to paint and basically do the plaster paris of the dam project, and that can be done with the cheaper labor, right? So that basically security is not available. Again, there would be conflict of interest. Now, can employee protest against the owners? Can employee protest against the owners? There are so many conflicts. Poor company, what company should do? But Dhruv, that can be said with the same for the employees, poor suppliers, poor local community. What they would do? They can make a trade union. So what you are saying, what you guys are saying, that employees voice will be heard if they have a strong union. Basically they have a power, they will get power. Individually no employee will get the power, but if they create a trade union and they basically protest against the management, they go on strike, then they may be listened. There will be strong possibility they will be listened. That means employee have a very strong power if they create a union, right? Right. Now again, supplier, one more conflict. Yes, employees matter. Employee do not matter. Employees matter. So multiple individual matter. Single individual does not. Now for supplier, please understand the conflict here. For supplier, can anyone tell me what would be the conflict for supplier? Very good, Dia. Defer payment. Money was not paid on time. Another conflict. Another conflict. That we defer the payment supply because we have taken the goods on credit. Now we are deferring the payment. We are saying, okay, we'll pay you next month. We'll pay you next month. In businesses, it normally happens that sometimes you defer the payment of your creditors, though it ruins the relationship with the supplier. But in long term, sometimes happens that you basically defer payment. Sometimes, let's say we borrow the loan from the bank. So we also, sometimes defer or basically not pay one or two installments. We pay it later on. Very good enough. Supplier want to charge a higher price for their material, whereas company want to basically buy at a less cost. Again a conflict. Supplier want to charge a higher price for the material that they are providing, and company wants to basically charge a less price for the same material. Let's say supplier wants to basically sell it at 200, company wants to buy it 100. Again a conflict. Local community, anyone for the local community? Are we clear with this now? That conflicts are happening across among stakeholder, and conflicts can happen basically like this local community would be a good example. Basically, community conflict will be happening between among different community, local community. In return, they were given nothing. Local community job opportunities I have explained. So you are saying they were not given job opportunities? Okay, good, good. So first thing first, let's first have a let's have a first conflict with the company. So in this case, company does not hire the local villagers. Company actually go outside and hire people from there because they are cheap labor. They basically hire people from outside. They are cheap labor. So first conflict is that because company wants to reduce cost, and that's why they hired people from outside. Second conflict, in order to get these people jobs, you may need to fire your current employees. In order to give these people job, you may need to fire current employees. Now do you see a conflict between employee and supplier, sorry, employer and local community? Do you see the conflict between current employees and the local communities? So conflict does not need to be happening between the owners only or the company only, but sometimes the people you're dealing with can have a conflict among each other. And in that case, also company may need to, deal with both of these people. Right? Is this clear? This one is clear about having different conflict, not only with the company, but also with the outsider. I did not include government. Yeah, government is here. So government want taxes. And if taxes, for the taxes, what would happen? They would need the correct financial reporting numbers. So company may report fraudulent numbers, right? So there is a conflict with the government also. Government want taxes as much as they want, as much as company generate profit, that much government wants profit, basically taxes on that profit. But in order to save taxes, company can basically forge their fake, basically forge their profits. They can show lower profits in order to save taxes. Sometimes they make show fake invoices, fake salaries, fake expenses to reduce the cost. Tax evasion, very good, Dia. Oh, sorry, it's true. Sorry. Okay. Lenders, borrowers, again, very simple. That lender will not be paid back their money. Why? Because company takes risky decisions. Company takes risky decisions. Risky decisions. Lenders are basically right now in the belief that company will be able to pay back their loan because they have a government project. What if government project gets cancelled? How lender will be basically getting their money back? What if environmentalist wins and this project is cancelled? How lenders will be getting their money back? So they have a conflict with the environmentalist as well as with the company. Yeah, again in that case also, if let's say dam basically get destroyed, very good point there, that dam get destroyed, the construction is not complete and government does not basically reward the money to the company, and in that case bank will not be getting their money back. So that is again a conflict. So bank definitely wants the company to avoid taking the risk, whereas company wants to take the risk so that they can increase their profitability, because higher risk higher profitability, I think this is something that we learned as a basics. Higher risk means higher profitability, and bank want lower risk because they are, very possessive about, very protective about their money that they have given to the people. And customer as a public definitely want a best quality. It's not like they one day you are driving a car on the road and suddenly the dam gets collapsed. So that definitely you don't want the flood to happen in a city or basically anywhere. So that's why you want company to follow all the laws and regulations. So there are conflicts. I hope this is clear. The conflict part is clear. Now, if you pay attention to, as I said, the thing will be how much power and influence you have over that conflict. If you have a conflict, see, as Dhruv, you mentioned, you were basically joking, but actually you raised a very good point. Poor company, what would they do? There are so many people to listen. And when you have so many people to listen, so many people to listen, so please follow the hierarchy. Follow the most, or basically listen to the most relevant one. Listen to most relevant one. Now, who would be most relevant one? Can anyone tell me? Though I have already given you hint, but who would be the most relevant one? And this would basically come up with a new concept which is called key stakeholders. Key stakeholders. Government. Okay, I was not expecting this one. It can. Directors, managers. Okay, interesting. Or owners. Okay. So this is basically conflict between manager and shareholder. Let's say directors wants to run the company in a fashion way. They want to make company riskier decisions, where shareholder are protective of the investment. They want company to avoid taking risk. Or let's say directors are taking, do you remember I discussed about Mr. Narayan Moti and Mr. Vishal Sikka? Did we discuss this case study? Mr. Narayan Moti and Mr. Vishal Sikka. Like I discussed like what was the conflict, or I just mentioned the case study. I don't remember discussing the case study. Okay, okay. Just mention this. Okay, okay, okay. So this is a famous case in India between Mr. Narayan Moti of Infosys CEO, Infosys chairman. Basically, he's also the owner of the Infosys, and Mr. Vishal Sikka for the as a CEO. Okay, so they had a conflict. They had a conflict. Why? Because Mr. Narayan Murthy asked Mr. Vishal Sikka, who was like 2016 to 2019 time director of the Infosys, they asked him why he's drawing, or basically, he's getting a very handsome salary. Like he was getting a crores of package. So Mr. Narayan Murthy was not happy because when he was CEO, he never withdraw, such salary. So Vishal Sikka was high, basically getting so much salary. So these are also called, fat CEOs. Just for your knowledge, he was getting such a high package. So Mr. Narayan Moti raised this concern, like, you are running the company and the one of the highest cost companies paying is basically your salary. So are you providing any benefit to the company for that same cost? Because previous CEOs did not paid got such higher amount. So we are paying you, so what you are basically giving us in return? So Mr. Vishal Sikka, tried to justify their salary, and they had this, dispute with Mr. Narayan Modi. And this was actually in newspaper because both have, a very cold type of war. Mr. Narayan Modi was saying in an interview in one day, Mr. Vishal Sikka was saying something in another day. So it was very, like that thing. And the shareholders were very worried about there, because if your leadership is fighting among themselves, so that's a very big concern for the shareholder. Like, how company will be managed? Okay. So this was basically the conflict, like the manager or the director was basically withdrawing high salary, very expensive salary, whereas shareholder wanted the maximization of wealth. If you are paying so much money to the salary, that means your cost is high, then your revenue will be at the same level, so your profitability will reduce. If you pay less salary, your profitability will increase. So that was the concern, and that was there was a conflict. Okay. So this is a very famous case. Rest you can basically read that how basically shareholder conflict happens. So we have covered this in very detail. I hope you all guys are clear with this, right? Now, how to manage this conflict? How to manage this conflict? This was the problem. Now let's address one solution. Should we finish this and then take a break, or should we take a break first? Tell me. Conflict of interest, I hope we are clear. Now, how to address the conflict of interest? Okay, okay, finish then break. Okay, 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 sure. See, as I said, we will be assessing how much power someone has. Okay, and how much influence, how much power influence is one thing, and how much impact they have, how much impact they get. Stakeholders are people who get affected. Affect. Okay, how much effect they get, how much. So stakeholder are the people who get affected by the business decision. So first we will see how much somebody gets affected and how much power they have. So people who have high power and they are affected most, they are affected most. So they will be our key stakeholders. Okay. They will be the people we will always put priority, most likely owners. So owners have very high power. They can remove the director who run the company, because basically appointing the director is the power of owner, which we discussed in the last class. So they can remove the manager's employee. So they have this power. So that's why owner has the highest power. Definitely they get affected very much, because whatever decision company will be making, that will be affecting the company. Like one example, one very beautiful example, I just remember IBM. Do you know IBM used to be a software developer company. They used to be a software developer company. Okay. When there was a IT boom, so software, IBM used to develop the softwares, and even the first hardware. Like I remember, this is a very popular meme or popular pic in the social media, that there is a like truck size hard disk of of 6 MB or something like that, which was loaded in the truck. So it was made by the IBM. IBM is not laptop manufacturer, I don't think. Anybody? I don't think they're laptop manufacturer. Let me continue with my story. Maybe I'm wrong, but please, this is just for the sake of class, let's continue with this example. What I understand, IBM is a software consultancy. Okay. So what I was saying, IBM used to be a software developer company. Okay. They have basically developed the softwares and all that. AI one first. Okay, 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 okay. They have made the first AI. Okay. So they have this, know-how. They have this know-how and intellectual. Like they have this know-how or intellectual property. because they have worked in software development a lot. So they are very expert, they are highly experienced and expert, they are specialized people, they are highly expert people. But the problem with this software development was that market was saturated. Like many companies were coming and they were offering the same services, and it was very difficult for the company to compete. So what happened at that time, the director of the IBM decided to change the shape of the company. What they did, instead of software development, because they had done the software development and they knew like this market is saturated, they changed the business strategy from software development to consultancy. Now, instead of developing softwares, they will be providing consultancy to companies who are preparing softwares, who are making softwares. And this was one of the greatest decision in the history of IBM. They became one, basically with the consultancy, their revenue basically generated so much, and and basically company got a lot of profits. So because of the decision of director, company shareholder gets affected. And the opposite example would be Kodak, the first company, the real company that we used to put, maybe you guys are aware or not, I'm not sure. But in my time, we used to have a camera and basically we used to put a reel in that and basically click. At that time, reel was not the shorts or reels. It was actually photo digital reel. And we used to use it. So Kodak was the first company who created first digital camera in 1970 or 80. But even after that, it could not convert or it could not transfer to digital camera. Right now we have iPhone, we have phones, smart cameras, and basically we switch that. And now very few people require the digital. Basically, very few people are using the normal camera anyway, and they are using also the digital camera. So Kodak used to basically have this physical reels with them. Because of the poor decision of the director that they continued with the business of reels, so this Kodak company got insolvent and the shareholder got affected because of that. So the point I'm making is these shareholders are the people, the owner are the people who have the highest power and who basically gets affected highly. Okay, they have high power as well as their effect level from the decision on the business is very high because they have the highest risk. Clear? Now with this we will be determining for each stakeholder how much power they have, how much basically affection they have. Now for government, tell me how much power government has and how much effect they have. Tell me. Basically, instead of effect, I just saw we should say interest. Interest. How much power government has and how much interest government has. Affected or interest. What is high? Power and interest both are high. Everyone, please pour in your answer. Okay, Dia says interest is low and power is high. Okay. Yep. That's okay. So government has definitely high power because they can make any decisions. Like they can affect the industry. Forget about the company. Recently in India banned the export of wheat and rice outside world because of the the market situation and the market condition, the Ukraine Russia war. So they basically banned the basically export of wheat and rice, and this was basically some decision like you can read in the news. Now just think about a company who solely sell their rice outside the country. Their business would immediately get shut down, immediately. So government has very high power, but their interest is most of the time is low. Most of the time government interest is low unless government has given you money for running the company. So most of the time government interest is low. Most of the time they just want people to pay taxes and follow the law. Okay, most of the time government interest is very low. If it's a local authority, if it's, let's say we are talking about local authority that we are checking for and the government is here. So in this case, power of the government will be high and the interest of the government will be high, because this school or the local community or local authority is basically managed by the government. So they have a high interest as well as high power. Okay. So this is what basically Mendelow's matrix is about. So Mendelov matrix is basically a kind of a horizon where we have power and interest. Okay, which basically shows high power, low power, high interest, low interest. And we plot people basically based on this. Okay, let's say we want low interest and low power. So normally it would be temporary employee, or let's say environmentalist, that would be coming here. Okay, let's say people have high interest but very low power. Low power. So normally it is employees, permanent employee. Employee individually does not have any power unless they make their trade union. So right now, as an individual employee, they have low power, but their power can increase. Their power can increase if they become trade union. Or basically, let's say you have a key supplier. What if your key supplier, the same material that is providing to you is now started providing to your competitor? Let's say in case of McDonald's is known for their French fries. Okay, and the potato that they supply is basically a special potato. Okay, that's not available to a local farmer. So McDonald has basically, contract with the key suppliers. What if this key supply is provided this potato to their competitor? So in this case, McDonald will lose their competition. So that's why supplier can have a very high power as well as high interest. In this case, shareholders can also be there. These institutional shareholder, just forget about it, because I have to explain what are institutional shareholder there. So for this timing, just forget about it. Just right now think that government is here. Okay, so based on the interest of a person and based on the basically power, you would be defining how much basically basically the person has power and interest, and based on that you would be deciding the priority. Okay, so definitely high priority would be high power, high power, high interest. Second priority would be high power, low interest. Third priority would be low power and high interest. And fourth priority would be low power or lower interest. For people high power with high interest, you will always keep them happy. Always keep them happy. For people with having high power, you will always watch out for their action. You will always watch out for their action. For people having low power with but having high interest, you need to be careful with them. Why? Because what if these people convert into high power? Okay, for low power and low interest, ignore them, but did not completely ignore them. Keep on a watch that their power changes. Keep on a watch that their power changes. Because if you have got this, that this is a constant changing metric. It's not like once you have plotted somebody, so they will be there forever. They can change. Ignore them. That was brutal. But this is what Mr. Menlo says. Okay, I'll say this to this person. So this is how we basically keep a track. High power, high interest, biggest priority. And those people who are in high power, high interest, they will be your key stakeholders. Okay. With this, we wrap up this chapter, and please don't leave. Oh, okay, okay. Let's have a break, and then we will be doing some questions. Agency relationship. We will covering it later. Okay, later, because we have already understood the limited liability, so I don't think this needs to be explained anymore. But we'll just discuss them later on. So we'll after the break, let's start the question, and then we'll start chapter number 2. So hopefully you understood Chapter number one, business organization, and you understand about the stakeholders interest, stakeholders conflict, and how to basically prioritize the stakeholder. Because at one time you cannot listen to every stakeholder because there will be conflict among the stakeholders. So you need to prioritize, and you will be prioritizing according to the organization. Okay, as an organization, as a company, you'll be prioritizing that those stakeholders that does not affect you directly, or that does not basically harm you directly. Let's say they are environmentalists who want the project to cancel. Definitely they are harming you. So whether should you listen to them? Well, depending upon their power. If they have a low power, then you can ignore them and basically continue to serve your interest. Let's say they have higher power, then try to negotiate with them, try to reduce the damage, so that both of the party can basically come to a conclusion and come to an arrangement. Okay, this is how you use the Mendelow's matrix. Okay, any time, any doubt, let me know. Let's have a 5 minutes break. Okay, and then we'll be coming back to the questions. Let's have a break, 5 minutes. Hello, are we back? Are we back, guys? Okay, so please start answering question. First question is, it is easy as though. Which word correctly completes the sentence? A dash company has a separate legal personality from its. Now, basically, what will happen in the question? There would be a drop down list. You will be just putting a mouse cursor there, and basically, this options would be coming. Very good. Okay, no confusion. Very good, very good. Everybody has answered correctly. Nice. Everybody has answered correctly. It's the limited. So once the drop list will be opening, you will be selecting this option. Private, public, basically a type of company or sectors. Which word or phrase? Oh, sorry, this is private company, public company. Answer is limited. Okay, so this is for companies, private and public. Okay, which word or phrase correctly completes the sentence? Dash comprises all individual group who have a legitimate interest in an organization. Good. It is a stakeholders. Okay. Complete the sentence by given below by using one of the words in the list. Community, connected, external, internal stakeholder. Shareholders are ha. Okay. So one student actually said majority of you are correct. Okay. Those who said internal, please understand internal are those who work for the company, basically employee or director. Basically, they are inside the company. As I said, there should be, wall. So if they are inside the organization, they would be internal. So in this case, it is the connected. Okay. Supplier, customer, they are the connected stakeholders. ABC. Now, I think this is a case study base. Yeah, this is a case study based question. Case study base. So till now we were basically dealing with section A question. Okay, this was 1 mark, 1 mark, and I think this was 1 mark also. Okay, now this is a case study based question. Question number 4, question number 5, case study based. So you would be getting 4 marks. 4 marks or 6 marks? 6 questions, 4 marks each. Yeah. So ABC is a ABC is a business control on the basis of one share, one vote. By comparison, DEF is control on the basis of one member, one vote. So ABC is a business control on the basis of one share, one vote. By comparison, this is control one member, one vote. What sort of business ABC and DEF are? ABC is a limited liability company. DF is a partnership. ABC is a cooperative society. DF is a limited liability company. ABC is a partnership. D is a limited liability. Limited liability cooperative society. Hmm. ABC is a business control on the basis of one share, one vote. ABC, in case I'm getting some answers. One vote, one share. Whereas DF has one member, one vote. Now, what basically is the character of ABC? What is the character of DEF? Okay. So, who basically wrote this? Didn't get you there, Dia, what you're saying here. ABC's cooperative society definition is limited liability. Okay, okay, okay. So, answer is fourth here. I hope we are clear with this. This is a feature of company, limited liability company. Basically, right now we have not seen the unlimited company. So, this is basically a company feature which we are right now considering as limited, and this is a feature of cooperative society. So Darren asked whether shareholders, if they are owner, then are they internal? So Darren, for internal, you should be working within the company, working. Okay, so within the company, only employee and directors work. Okay, owners, if they appoint themselves director, then they are in the capacity of director as an employee, not as the owner. Okay, if they are owners, they are not employee. In that case, they will be connected. This sounds confusing, but this is actually logical. So the boundary is of basically within the organization or outside the organization. Those people who are within the organization, who are internal, who basically works regularly, so they are basically internal. See why you are confused. Let me tell you why shareholders are not basically inside, because there are shareholders like institution shareholders. Who are institution shareholders? I'm not sure whether you are aware about mutual fund companies, AMCs, who invest in company in bulk. Okay, so these are the people who sometimes invest in the company. They are not genuine shareholders. All they have basically, they have invested the money in the company for the short or medium term, and they will pull out their money. Whereas in case of stakeholders, like the promoters or the small shareholders, they have invested their money genuinely. They will be continuing to keep their money in the company for the long term. So that's why shareholders are considered as a connected people, because they do not have any particular say inside the company, unless there is one person who's making decision for the board of director. But that is actually a very different discussion. Maybe will be coming in the later chapters. So Darren, the internal is defined by the boundary. Those people who are working within the company. Clear, Darren? Okay. So this question is clear now. Question number 5. Please understand these two are in continuation. This four, basically with this fourth we are basically continuing with the question number 5, so it is in continuation. Aziz is a customer of both ABC and DF. What type of stakeholder he is? Select the correct answer for ABC and for basically DEF. Please pay attention. As I said, the case study is this much, ABC this, DEF this much for both. Okay. There is actually a trick, that's why I said it again. Huh? Not a stakeholder. Right now, in the case 2, in question number 5, he is the customer. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good, 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 good. So in this case, see, what I was saying, like any student is getting into the trick or not. So I'm not sure whether you have paid attention or not. DEF is a cooperative society. Okay, external. For ABC, they would be external. No, external is not applicable. Let me remind, internal within the company. So it is employee, manager, or director. Okay, they are the people. Let's say connected. I think people are getting confused here. Connected, basically customer, supplier, or uh, the owners, shareholders. So they are connected. Now, finally, finally, the external. External would be government agency, basically your local community, okay, environmentalist, okay, any society that is basically related to your country. So any of these agency like local authority, these people will be external parties. Okay, 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 okay. Now, can you explain your answer for DEF, Arnav? You have said the thing that I was looking for, but can you tell me why? See, for ABC, it is connected stakeholder, definitely. But you could have asked, DEF is a cooperative society. Cooperative society. And in cooperative society, members is open, and these people are the one who work for the organization. So the same person is connected or internal. Basically, is it not falling within this case? So this was the question I was thinking, like one student may ask. The answer is that it is a customer. It is a customer. That's why they are connected. Okay. This is actually, the trick, but I'm, it's kind of a forced trick I'm doing on you because nobody asked this question for the DEF. DEF is basically a cooperative society. So one student might get confused. Okay, cooperative society. So some basically person working there. Answer is basically connected for both. But here, basically, I'm not sure whether you have selected it consciously or unconsciously. Because if had it been an employee, had it been an employee or shareholder, had it been an employee or shareholder, then it would have been, a very interesting thing to check. So in case of customer, definitely it's connected. But if had it been in basically an owner, so I wanted to check your answer. So then in that case, ABC would be connected, but for DEF it would have been internal because it was a cooperative society. For as a employee, not as a customer. As a customer, definitely it's connected. Clear, everyone? About external, internal, because I think you are still getting these queries, external, internal. So please understand those who are working within the organization, working. Okay, those who are not part of the organization. Suppliers also part of the organization, customers are also part of the organization. You are thinking, okay, customer might be distributed. Sometimes an organization may have only one customer, and that customer is the only person they are selling their goods to. So that customer may be very highly connected. You know how Tata Motors create their cars in order to reduce cost. They have set up contracts with their suppliers, that wherever their factory is, supply will be opening their factories nearby them, so that they can provide the inventory to the Tata Motor anytime. So this is sometimes the supplier and the company may be highly dependent on each other. So sometimes they are key suppliers, key customers. Yeah, transportation, and this is actually a concept which is JIT, just in time inventory. Okay, this is a very because when you have inventory, let's say you are selling cars, so some cars might be sold immediately, or some cars might take years to sell. Some cars will sell basically, let's say 5 to 6 years. So you do not want to invest your money in that car for that long period. You want to invest money only when there is a order. So Tata Motors, or the car manufacturing companies normally work on JIT process. JIT is basically just in time, where you create a basically close relationship with the supplier. They set up their business around your basically offices, and whenever you require, they basically provide you uh, the the material so that you can produce it immediately on basically customers' demand. Okay, though not very feasible for organization like McDonald's and all that, because they have a very fast consumer thing, so they want to buy it on bulk and they want to produce it in bulk so that they can sell it immediately. Okay, not suitable for every business like Walmart, or basically like Reliance Retail, so they do not want to carry on this. Okay, so with this we are wrapping this chapter. Again, one thing before we move ahead, there is your practice kit. Let me just see whether we can open the practice case here. Oh, I'm not sure whether I have the practice kit access. Just a second, let me check whether I have the practice kit access. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Otherwise, I have to check with the VG team. I have practice. This is an old practice kit. No, no. I need the current practice kit. Practice kit I have. Do you guys have anyone in the class does not have the practice kit with themselves? Anyone? I'm just checking whether my practice kit will be opening. Okay, okay, okay. Uh, okay, okay. Now it's open. Now it's open. Let me share my screen for you. Okay, though the practice kit has changed, the last time I checked, this was not the format. Let me know if you are able to see this. This is the practice kit you would get. I'm not sure why this is opening like this. Let me just check the index. Just a second, huh? Is it the right book? Doesn't look genuine though. Okay, okay, yeah, this one is okay. Though this is a EPUB file. Very interesting. Okay, we'll manage somehow. Okay, so those who will be getting the practice kit, this is the book you will be getting. This is BPB practice kit. You will be using it in your preparation. Okay, I hope the screen is visible. It's not like I'm talking to myself. So these are the sections which we will be covering, and they have categorized the question according to these sections: business organization and external environment. So chapter number 1 to chapter number 5, the questions would be here. Okay, from chapter number 6 and 7, the questions would be here. Some of the questions are mixed with the chapter because each section does not correlate with your chapters. So some questions would be basically coming here and there. So let's jump to the questions directly. Let's do one or two questions and then we'll start chapter number 2. So the business organization and its an external environment. First question. Oh, yeah, they have given the accurate question. Business organization and their stakeholders. So this is basically from the first chapter. Which of the following words completes the sentence? An organization is a social arrangement which pursues dash, which control its performance and boundary. Which option should I select? Everyone. Very good. It's goals. Okay. They have said that this is a correct answer and they have given the reason. Okay. You can read it. Which is the term given to idea that combined output of number of individual working together will exceed that same individual and working separately? Sympathy, specialization, synergy. Okay. Did I mention synergy in the class? I don't remember mentioning synergy in the class. No, 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 no. So this one is on me. This one is on me. This one is a synergy. It's actually forgot in my mind. When an individual is basically, working alone. Remember the needle example. When an individual working individually, so they would not be achieving standardization specialization, but when two people coming together, so they would be bringing extra effort. So this extra effort is called a synergy. So I just forgot to mention that extra effort is a synergy. But the reducing effort and basically basically achieving better results, because either specialization is also happening, plus two people coming together to combine their efforts. So like who is this, like Arnav is saying 1 plus 1 is equal to 11. So this is actually true, and this is basically the concept of synergy. 2 plus 2 becomes 5, basically one extra factor, because two people coming together, whereas one individual doing the same thing, so it more time and basically not much basically effort. So here I actually forgot, this was synergy. Okay, so it's called synergy. So you have created synergy when two people have combined their effort, the combined effort here. Okay, now which of the following statement is true? Limited company status means that company is only allowed to trade up to a predetermined turnover level in any 1 year. For organizations that have limited company status, ownership and control are legally separate. The benefit of being a sole trader is that you have no personal liability for the debt of your business. Ordinary partnership offer the same benefit as limited company, but are usually formed by professionals such as doctor and solicitor. Tell me. Hmm, good. Answers are correct. Ayush and Dhruv, your answer is correct. Dia, this is not correct. Please read it again. Correct, Anirudh. So the answer is, for organizations that have a limited company status, ownership and control are legally separate. Okay. This option is not correct. If you are a sole proprietor and you do not have a limited liability, then then you do not have a limited liability, then you will be personally liable. Your assets will be attached. Remember Abraham Lincoln's friend, he was a sole proprietor. Yeah, yeah, sole trader, sole proprietor, one and the same thing. Okay, so please, I can see that you guys are getting confused with these technical words. I have explained the things in the simple terms. So please go through the class, basically the book. You will be basically reading the book or basically my notes. Just go through them. I have not, translated each and everything for you. I have basically made you understood the concept. So if you are, getting confused with the sole trader and sole proprietor, that is a problem thing. So please do read the notes, do read the book. So that will help you basically cop up with these things. Okay. Organization is owned and run by central government agency, which this one is easy. This one is only 1 mark. So you will see that 1 mark questions are very easy. 2 mark question would be the tricky one. Like this one was a 2 mark question. Right, Ayush. Good. Anirudh, Anav, all are correct. This is public sector. Yep, public sector organization. Okay, one last. This is one of the multi-responsive I was asking, telling you about. One last one, and we'll move on then. Which of the or basically should we continue practicing question? We'll start the chapter, second chapter in next class. Should we do that? We have like 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll do let's more questions. Okay. 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 Which of the following groups may be considered be a stakeholder in activities of a nuclear power station? Interesting. It's a nuclear power station. They have, used this. Now tell me whether government, environmental pressure group, employee, local resident, who will be basically interested here? Correct answer, Darren. Hmm. Which option, Anirudh? Option. Tell me option name. And now you two. Okay. Select the option because you cannot select 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to select 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1, 3. Okay. Yeah. Second option. Correct. Okay. So far we have 100% score rate. Nice. Which of the following organization would rely most heavily on value for money indicator? Please remember value for money indicator. We talk about efficiency, value for money. Private accounting college, local authority, small retailer. Some thought. Though it's a 1 mark question, but it should be 2 marks. And I'm not correct. Do read this. Do read this. There's a very small trick. Ayush, correct. Your answer is correct. No, Anirudh. Good answer, Dhruv. Right, Jay. Your answer is also correct. I hope you are fine with the J. Yes, right answer enough. Okay. Now got it why I said, are you clear why your previous option was not here? Was not correct actually. Uh, okay, okay. So it's local authority. Okay. It's not private accounting college. College basically might have sound like it would be a non-profit organization, so value for money. No, it's a private college. Okay. And small retailer or basically private, they people try to earn profit. So they ask for profitability, not value for money. Okay. ABD is a business which is owned by its worker, owned by its worker. Okay. Starting the indication. The workers share the profit and they each have a vote on how business is run. Dia has given the answer first. Which of the following should be used to describe ADB? Okay. Nice. Everybody's correct. Cooperative. Okay, now this is the chapter number 2 questions and chapter number 3 questions that we will cover in the next class. So hopefully you got a clarity. No, no, this was okay. This one was the problematic one. Okay, are you clear with Kidia? Any doubt? Okay. Okay, thank you. So thank you for your time. We have finished our chapter number 1. In the next class, we'll start chapter number 2. No worries. We have sufficient time. We took 1.5 class for finishing the chapter number 1, and it's normal. Chapter number 2, and please pay attention. I don't want any misses on chapter number 4. I don't want any misses on chapter number 2. Chapter number 3 is I am hoping chapter number 3 is basically legality. Let me just quickly check. I don't want any misses on chapter number 4. Legal framework chapter number 3. So I don't want any miss on chapter number 4, guys. One of the most important chapter. Basically, I enjoy teaching chapter number 4. That's why I'm encouraging you. Every topic is important, but it will be very fundamental. Chapter number 2, again, very important. Okay. So please don't miss the class on chapter number 2 and chapter number 4. Try to be present in the class. Otherwise, definitely recorded lectures would be there for you. But I would definitely encourage you. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let's meet next weekend. And I hope any suggestions, any kind of feedback you want to give to me. So please do let me know whether my pacing I need to, improve, or whether, any type of communicating I need to improve. In terms of writing, you need to manage with that. I can't help it. Sorry. Thanks so much, Dhruv, for your kind words. Okay. I'll be sharing this note after the class. Thank you so much, Dia. Dhruv, as of now, we are taking only weekend classes. Thank you, Arnav. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, guys. See you next week. Okay. Bye bye.